A stoneware crock in a cold corner could mean the difference between supper and a coffin. In 1933, up a wet hollow in eastern Kentucky, families with no power, no truck, and barely any cash kept meat, milk, medicine, and children alive with skills. Modern life now treats like contraband. We are told you need subscriptions, packaging, inspections, and experts for all of it. They did not. And number 21 on this list turned weeds and wood ash into something stores still cannot match. Number 12 kept a whole cabin warm after the fuel ran out. And number 3 is the one skill that made every other skill possible. Then the squeeze came. County code boards, federal food rules, seed laws, insurance liability, and the quiet war of companies that profit when you forget how to do for yourself. Here is what they buried. Let us count them down. Number 27. Root cellar temperature reading by touch. Before thermostats, mountain families knew a cellar the way a sailor knows wind. Hand on stone, breath in the air, the smell of earth and apples. If the potatoes felt wet cold, they moved them. If the crocks sweated, they cracked the door. The modern habit is gadgets first. The old habit was attention first. Practical wisdom. If you cannot read a room with your own senses, you do not really control your supplies. Number 26. Ash scrub dish sanitation. Lye traces in hardwood ash, gritty enough to scour iron, gentle enough to save soap. In cabins where every bar mattered, hot water and sifted ash cut grease off skillets black as midnight. It smelled like wet fire and old oak. Then came detergent dependence and the idea that cleanliness only comes in a plastic bottle. Your great-grandmother knew sanitation begins with heat, friction, and discipline. Number 25. Porch drying greens and apples. Not a machine, a screen, shade, moving air, and patience. Beans turned leathery. Apple rings shrank sweet and brown. Greens crackled between work-worn fingers. Winter flavor made in July. Refrigeration did not just replace this. It made people forget shelf-stable abundance. Store less panic. Preserve more seasons. Number 24. Springhouse cooling. A box set over running water could keep milk and butter, cold enough to last, even in August. Mossy stone. Water so cold it hurt the wrist. Crocks lined in shadow. Modern experts act like cold storage begins with compressors. Appalachian families used geography. What changed? Rural electrification helped, yes, but utility dependence also ended one more layer of self-reliance. Use the land before you use the grid. And if simple cooling sounds harmless, wait until you see what they did with smoke, salt, and a blade. When the state decided your own food was suddenly dangerous. Number 23. Smoke curing with green hickory. This was not just flavor. It was chemistry, patience, and winter insurance. Hams hung high while sweet smoke curled through rafters, sticking to meat, keeping flies off, drying it slow. Then USDA processing rules, custom slaughter limits, and commercial packing giants pushed small home systems to the margins. What was replaced? Shrink-wrapped meat that fails the moment the power does. If you cannot preserve protein, you are only borrowing security. Number 22. Fat saving and tallow rendering. Every scrap counted. Leaf fat, sweat, drippings. Simmered. Down, strained clear, cooled pale and solid. Cooking grease, lamp fuel, soap stock, leather treatment. Modern waste culture taught people to throw away what older people called stored labor. The lesson is brutal and simple. Abundance begins where disgust ends. Number 21. Wood ash lye making. Rainwater poured through hardwood ash into a barrel. Drop by drop, the liquid came through slick and caustic. Strong enough for soap, strong enough to strip, strong enough to matter. You could smell the bite of it before you saw it. Now try buying that kind of independence. You will get warning labels, chemical fees, and a shelf full of branded substitutes. This is one reason DuPont, Procter & Gamble, and the whole industrial cleaning economy won so much ground. Once people stopped making the base ingredients, they had to buy the finished world. Micro takeaway: the person who can make the base material is never fully trapped. Number 20. Hog-killing weather judgment. Main event. Your grandfather did not ask an app. He stepped outside before dawn and felt whether the air would hold a carcass safely through the day. That thin, iron cold. The kind that turns breath white and boards hard under boots. In the mountains, hog butchering was not just food prep. It was community timing, anatomy knowledge, sanitation, preservation, and nerve. Water heating in black, kettles. Knives honed until they whispered. Children sent for salt, women readying crocks and cloth. Nothing wasted. Not gut, not blood, not bone. Today, whole generations are trained to believe meat appears on a lit shelf and nowhere else. Meanwhile, state processing laws, USDA inspection frameworks, zoning restrictions, and liability fear pushed family slaughter out of view and out of memory. The system did not only professionalize killing, it moralized dependence. But when supply chains break, the old question returns cold and ugly. Can you turn an animal into winter? One practical truth remains. Skill is cleaner than ignorance. Reverence is more humane than distance. Number 19. Sassafras, pine, and bitter herb tonic knowledge. Not miracle cures. Not fairy tales. Just a practical pharmacy built from bark, needles, leaves, and experience. Steam in a tin cup, sharp resin in the nose. Bitterness that told you it was working on something. Then came FDA crackdowns on certain traditional compounds, liability culture, and total surrender to packaged medicine for every discomfort. Know this difference. Folk knowledge is not superstition when it is tied to observation. Number 18. Hand-sewn feed sack reuse. Shirts, aprons, pillow ticks, diapers, curtains. A printed sack was not trash. It was fabric that had not become itself, yet. Modern adults were sold convenience and lost material imagination. What you call thrift, your people called normal. Number 17. Seed saving under the bed. Beans in jars. Corn tied and hung. Tomato seeds dried on paper. Saved seed carried local memory. Drought memory, pest memory, soil memory. Then hybrid dependence, patent-heavy seed markets, and companies like Monsanto turned yearly buying into the new normal. If you cannot reproduce your food, you do not own your food. But the deeper theft was not seeds. It was the redesign of what Americans were taught to call progress. Number 16. The system did not ban every old skill outright. It did something smarter. It made the old way look backward, then made the replacement look moral, modern, and safe. Buy the soap. Buy the seed. Buy the heater. Buy the medicine. Buy the meat already cut so you never have to ask where it came from. That is how cultural erasure works when force is too obvious. It replaces pride with embarrassment. And the next items show exactly how that happened inside the home itself. Number 15. Hand-pumped laundry with boiled water and plunging sticks. Steam fogging the porch. Knuckles red. Soap slick on denim stiff with clay. This was labor, yes, but it was also control. If the line froze, clothes dried into boards and finished near the stove. Electric appliances saved time. They also centralized necessity. The lesson is not to romanticize hardship. It is to remember redundancy. Number 14. Bone broth concentration and gravy stretching. A chicken could feed more people than modern cooking allows because the old kitchen extracted everything. Bones simmered until soft. Gelatin set cold. Grease, lifted and saved. Flour turned drippings into fullness. Today we throw away flavor and buy supplements for what once sat in a pot all afternoon. Waste is often just amnesia. Number 13. Hand-forged repair over replacement. A busted hinge, cracked hoe, bent latch. None of it meant a shopping trip. It meant heat, hammer, vise, file. The ring of metal across a yard was the sound of money not leaving the property. Big box retail and planned obsolescence buried this one without a funeral. If every break sends you to a store, you are living at someone else's mercy. Number 12. Fire banking through the night. Main event. This is one modern adults almost cannot imagine. Going to sleep with no pilot light, no thermostat, no guaranteed restart, just coals. Appalachian elders banked a fire under ash so it would breathe slow until morning. The cabin would cool, but not die. At dawn, one stir, one breath, one split of kindling, and orange life came back out of gray dust. The smell was half charcoal, half wet wool, half breakfast waiting to happen. Why does this matter? Because it was not just about warmth. A banked fire meant less fuel cut, less labor tomorrow, less risk in rain, less panic when snow sealed the path. It was energy storage before batteries. And what replaced it? Total fuel dependence, propane delivery, electric heat, grid fragility, and stoves people do not know how to tend. Add EPA wood stove regulations, changing codes, insurance fears, and the practical knowledge narrowed fast. But here is the vindication. Resilience experts now talk endlessly about thermal mass, low-input heating, and emergency redundancy. Your elders were already doing it in the dark. Micro takeaway. Never let every flame in your life go out at once. Number 11. Wild yeast and sour starter maintenance. Flour, water, crock, time. A living thing on the counter, fed by habit. Bread that rose from your own air. Industrial yeast made this easier. It also made bread one more product instead of one more. Household organism. Keep one thing alive that feeds you back. Number 10. Rabbit and chicken tractoring before it had a name. Coops moved. Pens shifted. Animals scratched, manured, cleaned, fertilized. The cycle was closed before permaculture got a logo, then zoning rules, suburban codes, and HOA culture treated. Livestock like moral contamination. A productive yard threatens every industry that sells dependency. Number 9. Pressure without a pressure canner. Before standardized equipment, people used long boils, heavy kettles, wax seals, cellar cold, salt, sugar, smoke, and relentless caution. Not all of it was ideal. Some of it was risky. But it came from necessity and observation, not stupidity. The controversy here is uncomfortable. Modern safety improved many things, but it also taught people to stop learning mechanisms and just obey procedures. Know the why, not only the rule. And then there is the story almost every mountain family has somewhere behind it. A woman who held a house together with methods polite society now laughs at. In West Virginia, one widow with 6 children was remembered for making one sack of flour last so long the neighbors swore she must be hiding money. She was not. She sifted twice, saved grease, traded sewing for sorghum, grew medicinal herbs by the fence, dried apples on window screens, reused lard tins as planters. She did not have hacks. She had command. That is the part modern culture cannot forgive. Competence in poor hands looks too much like freedom. Number 8. Sorghum boiling and syrup. Finishing. Steam rolling from the pan. Sweet grass smell in the cold. Skim, stir, reduce. A local sugar source made by patience and fire. Then industrial sugar, corn syrup, railroad distribution, and corporate scale made local sweetening look quaint. But sugar made at home is not just sweetness. It is stored sunlight you controlled yourself. Number 7. Grease lamps and improvised wick lighting. When kerosene ran low, people stretched drippings, oil, cloth, and ingenuity. The light was weak, smoky, intimate, but it was yours. Modern lighting is cleaner. It is also invisible until it fails. Resilience begins when you stop assuming the switch owes you anything. Number 6. Creek washing and gravity-fed water routing. Buckets are obvious. What people miss is routing, pitch, trough, barrel placement, overflow use. Mountain homes turned slope into plumbing. Then centralized water systems improved sanitation. Yes, but they also erased household literacy about water movement itself. If you do not understand gravity, every drought feels like an ambush. Number 5. Home butcher secrecy. By the late 20th century, many families still did what their parents did, just quieter. Blinds drawn, fewer visitors, no unnecessary talk, not because the food was shameful. Because the law, the neighbors, insurance, and bureaucratic scrutiny had changed the emotional weather around self-provision. That shift matters. A people do not lose skills only when they are banned. They lose them when they are made socially dangerous. Silence is often the last stage before disappearance. Number 4. The science is swinging back. Fermented foods, bone broth collagen, pastured fat, heritage seeds, wood heat backup, low-input gardening, slow food mineral density. Across category after category, modern research keeps rediscovering what mountain kitchens and smokehouses never forgot. Shelf life, gut health, thermal resilience, flavor, nutrient retention, locality. Not every old method was perfect, but far. More of it was rational than you were taught, and that brings us to the skill underneath all the others. Number 3. Attention training. This is the one nobody sells because it cannot be packaged. Your ancestors watched. They watched cloud bellies, fly behavior, the smell of a cellar, the sound a jar lid made when cooling, the color of chicken fat, the feel of meal between fingers, the mood of a fire, the silence in woods before weather. Turned, every other skill on this list rests on that one. Attention, not content consumption, not theory, not identity. Observation tied to consequence. The modern world is hostile to this because attention is profitable only when it is captured. If you relearn how to truly notice, half the market loses leverage over you. Apps, alerts, convenience products, emergency upsells, expert dependency itself. The old Homestead was not powered first by tools. It was powered by noticing. Micro takeaway: train your senses and your supplies start lasting longer. Number 2. Family skill chaining. One person salted, one stitched, one cut wood, one knew herbs, one knew births, one knew weather. No single person knew everything, but the household together knew enough. Modern isolation shattered that chain. We have information everywhere and skill nowhere concentrated. Rebuild the chain, in a family, in a church, in a neighborhood, but rebuild it. Number 1. The philosophy: nothing wasted, nothing outsourced that the family could still learn. That is the real forbidden skill. Not soap, not seed, not smoke, the mindset beneath them. Your great-grandmother did not see a world of products. She saw a world of materials, cycles, leverage, and duties. She did not ask first, "What can I buy?" She asked, "What do I already have? What can this become? Who in this family should know how to do this after me?" That mindset made poor people hard to rule, hard to sell to, hard to scare. And that may be the deepest reason it had to be mocked, regulated, and forgotten. If this knowledge disappears completely, the next hard decade will hit people with full pantries and empty hands. Pick one, just one. Save seed from a tomato, bank. A fire safely, dry apples on a screen, or learn how your grandparents kept food cold without a plug. Then come back and tell me which old skill made you feel less owned. If you want more of what your people knew before it was priced, packaged, and regulated out of reach, subscribe. There is more buried under these hills.